this lesson, we're going to prepare our jump animation. Alright, so we've got our character running back and forth, and it's looking really good at this point. And now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and create our jump animation. Now the jump animation is going to have a couple of different parameters that we need in the animator. So let's go ahead and set those up now. First off, we need to go ahead and create our first parameter, and this is going to be a bool parameter. And what we need to do is we need to check to see if we're grounded. So we only want to be able to play the jump animation if we're grounded. And then we also need another float parameter here that is going to check our vertical speed. And so I'm going to call that v-speed. Okay. So with those set, let's go ahead and create our blend tree. And we're going to go ahead and create a state with a new blend tree, just like we've been doing. Go ahead and select it. And let's call that airborne _F for front. All right. Double click on that. And with this one, we're going to go ahead and use the v-speed as our parameter. And then we're going to add in our motion fields. Now, for our jump animation, we're going to have 5 different animations that are going to be plugged in here. And this is going to all blend together. So let's go ahead and add the motion fields, and we're going to add 5 of these. Okay, and we're still going to be using the 1D blend type. And now what we want to do is we want to plug in the animations that we want to use for this. So let's go ahead and open up the jump animation folder. You'll see that we have several different ones here. But for this one, we're just worried about the front. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out just a little bit more so I can see this. So we can see that we have a few different 0-1 jumps. But the main difference between those is we have one that is a loop, and then we have 2, 3, and 4. So let's go ahead and plug in 4 at the very top. So let's go to that animation clip, drag and drop that. Let's go to the next one, drag and drop that one. Okay, and then we're going to go to 0-2. And then we're going to put in the loop on this one. So let's make sure that we get that loop. And then we're also going to get the initial jump, okay, which is the very first portion. Let's make sure we select our blend tree again and then drag and drop that animation clip. And there we go. So it should look just like this. Go ahead and expand that out so you can see that, exactly how that works there. All right, so now what do we do with this? How does this work exactly? Well, first thing, what we want to do is we want to turn off the automated threshold. We want to be able to adjust these values how we see fit. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. Now starting at the top, thinking about the animation, how it's going to work, okay, we're going to be basing the animation based on the v-speed. So whenever we hit that jump button, our rigid body is going to have a vertical speed that it gets. And whenever a character jumps at first, it's very, very quick, and they'll begin to slow down as they get to the top of the jump. And then whenever they get to the top of the jump, over that arc, they'll head down, and then the speed begins to increase as well. Okay, so what we're looking for is kind of a parabolic arc, okay, and a parabolic arc in values. So if you're unsure of what a parabolic arc is, it's basically just an arc. Think of the path that someone would take whenever they're jumping. Okay. So to get started with this, jump 04. Okay, this is going to be the downward animation. Okay, so this is where the character is flying really fast through the air on that downward slope. So we're going to put this value in at -16. Now these values that I'm putting in here, I've already tested these out. This came through a process of trying out some numbers, getting it close, and dialing in all the numbers in between. So the next one I'm going to type in -10. Jump 02, we're going to do -6. And then on the loop, we're going to type in 0. And then on that initial jump, we're going to put 4. So this is going to be the fastest that the jump is going to be. And then it's going to continue to decrease. This is the top of the jump, and then it'll decrease as we're coming back down. All right? So now with that set, how do we control this? How is this supposed to work with our jump, and how is it supposed to work with our character? Well, let's go ahead and go to our scene, and let's open up our character movement script. Now, this line of code is actually very, very simple. We're going to use the same process of the anim set float, and instead of setting the float speed, we're going to set the float's v speed parameter. So let's come in down below right here, and I'm going to say anim.setFloat, and then the parameter that I want to affect, which is going to be v speed, and then comma, and then what is the value that's going to be input here. And I'm going to put in the rigid bodies, so rigid body.velocity, and we're looking for the y direction on the velocity. So when a character jumps, they're jumping in the y direction. So that's what we're passing in for that v-speed float. All right. Now let's go ahead and hit Control S on this, and let's see how it works inside of Unity. So if I hit play, okay, if I come in, I can jump, but you'll notice that the animation's not working. Why is that? Why is it not updating for my character? Well, let's take a look at our animator. If we go into the base layer, you'll notice that we don't have anything going to airborne. So we need to make that transition. So the transition here should be is grounded. Okay? So if the character is grounded, if that's true, then we'll allow them to jump. If they're not grounded, so we're going to make that transition back. If they're not grounded, we're going to set that to false, so we'll go back to the idle animation. All right? So we also need to set this is grounded functionality. And this is also very, very simple. Let's go into our character movement, and we're going to put this, let's see, try to think of the best place to go ahead and put this here. I think we can go ahead and get away with just putting it right here. So we're going to say set bool underscore is grounded, or not underscore, quotations is grounded, and then comma, and then we're going to say whatever the value is. So we want to check for the grounded variable that we've already established in this. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit Control S to save that, and then we'll go into Unity, and let's hit play. And if I press the space bar, again, you'll see that nothing's happening. So what's happening here? Why isn't that working? Well, I know for a fact that what's happening is that we're never being told that we're grounded, because the ground check is not colliding with the script that's saying what is the ground. And so what we need to do now is we need to create the 2D collider that is going to tell us that we're grounded with something. So we'll